Go for it. So here we are, guys. It's episode 13 of the Tennessee Titans UK Fan Podcast. Once again, I'm joined by James and David. Guys, thanks again for joining me once more after another hard week. So, Titans fans, sometimes the hardest part of the game isn't the hits on the field, it's the ones that hit the heart. Sunday against the Colts was one of those days, a battle that started with belief and ended in bitter frustration. The Tennessee Titans went toe to toe with the Colts, but in the end, too many mistakes, too many missed chances, and another one slipped away. And just when we thought the storm couldn't hit any harder, news breaks: Roger McCreary, fighter, a tone setter, a cornerstone of the young defence, is gone, traded. A move that stings deep with the locker room and with its franchise. Tonight, we are delving into all this, the pain of another defeat, the emotions behind McCreary's departure, and the question every Titans fan's asking right now: where does the team go from here? So, guys, a defeat against the Colts on Sunday night. Now, at one point, I think it was 10-7 to the Colts. I thought, I don't know why, I had this glimmer of hope in my mind that we're back in the game here. We were struggling, and I thought we were going to push on and actually, make more of a competition of it. And in the end, it finished 38-14. I did fall asleep on the sofa. I did miss the last touchdown from the Titans because I was obviously very tired of watching a wonderful game of football. So I missed it. So another disappointing defeat. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I just wanted to speak. Well, I mean, obviously, very disappointing. I mean, the defense. I don't know what's happened to the defense the last 2 weeks. They've gone from being quite solid for most of the first 6 games to being pretty poor the last 2 games. Run, giving up big runs. Well, obviously one exceptionally big run, but Taylor seemed to be running at will when he had the ball. And Jones was just passing around, giving us a headache all the time. I mean, from what looked like it should have been a lot of yards given up, it actually was not so bad in the end. I think Jones only had 230 yards or something net.
Not too bad.
Well, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. Offensively, I thought we played. I was pleased that the last 2 games we had improvement. The last game, I mean, after 3 dire performances earlier, we played quite well. And then today was, well, yeah, Sunday was another reasonably good performance. I mean, we still need to improve vastly, but at least it's going in the right direction, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, I think we've kind of like reached this point in the season where we started the season off really, really good defense and really bad offense. And now we've kind of switched it around that our offense is, I'm not going to say really good, but I'm going to say it's okay. And our defense is just nowhere to be seen. I mean, you can see with like Big Jeff missing, like we've got a big hole in that middle of the defensive line, but the secondary is awful. It's just there's so many missed tackles. I think the only person that's really covering himself in any glory this year is Cedric Gray. Um, I'll keep the jury out on Winston just because he's a rookie, so he's got a bit more time to show what he can do. And Cedric Gray's playing well. Simmons is playing well, but when he's on the pitch, obviously, and the rest of it is just it's a bit lackluster, really. They just feel like they've got the Sneed bug, and none of them can be bothered to tackle or can be bothered to do anything really. But then we looked much better offensively. I will admit that watched the F1 instead of the Titans. Far more entertaining. But I did catch up on the game and I watched the game through and it was okay. The highlights looked a lot better. The throws Cam were making were really good. He had another good game, really. Apart from that interception right at the end, he had quite a good game. Some silly sacks so he could just get the ball out. I want to see him move more. I want to see him scramble a lot more. Is the thing with you see with some quarterbacks that just like Drake May, they had the ability to keep that play going by just scrambling and moving. Ward seems to go laterally and doesn't push forward. I know he did make a couple, but I just want to see him to like elongate the play just with his feet a little bit more, try and hit those first downs. show you he can use his feet, because that's what we need. The NFL is more about nowadays. It's kind of about a dual threat quarterback, especially when you don't have a very good running back. I know probably Jalen Hurts is the exception when they've got a very, very good running back, but the QB's got to be able to scramble and put up big plays running, as well as being a good thrower. But it was good. Feel like every time since I've slated Cam Ward, I feel like every game he's played since he's done really well.
He's obviously watched the podcast and seen it. Uh,
100%.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, you were just talking about Cam Ward. Now, I did see quite a bit of the weekend and since the weekend as well. A lot of people have been kind of moaning that he's not doing what you've just said, extending the plays by running. But a lot of people were saying when he was at college, he didn't play that way. It's not his style. So is that something we've got to accept that, we've drafted a quarterback if it isn't his style, or potentially is it the coaching that they're telling him not to do it? I don't know. I mean, but if it's not his style, you can't really force him to cut. Well, you can train him, you can try make him better. But is it something we're going to have to accept that he is not a mobile quarterback? Possibly. I mean, I know when you look at previous quarterbacks, Tannehill, Mariota, they were quite good at rushing with the ball when they realised the play was gone and they got the yards and they got the first downs. Do we think Cam Ward? I don't want to say one trick pony, but do we think this is him? Can we change him?
I don't think it matters whether. I mean, yeah, you think of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was not any good with at all with his legs. He was just a pocket passer, and that was it. I mean, occasionally he ran, but wasn't expected to. So, I mean, if you're making the passes, I don't think it matters whether you run or not. Obviously, it's nice to have that option that you can move around and extend plays. One thing I would say about the interception, it was on a 4th and 4, and he basically had to throw into the end zone. So whether he threw an interception or he threw it and it went wide, I mean, he had to throw it. So I don't
Well,
really blame him
he was
for that.
forced to do it, wasn't he? He didn't kind
Yeah,
of have that opportunity to
no.
think, oh, I've got another try after this. It was all or nothing at that point. And I guess if the passes aren't on or if the pressure's on, it's going to get to you, isn't it? So maybe that's what happened there with the interception at the end. Any more thoughts on the games, James? Because I know we don't want to touch much on the game because it's getting difficult to it's getting difficult to talk about the games, isn't it?
I think that when you got to look at, I mean, I'm going to start to sound like you now and start talking about the positives,
What?
but there are some good signs with our offense, as in the young players. So Helm,
Mm.
uh, DK, Ayamana, they look good. I mean, I thought we'd struggle a lot more missing Ridley. I thought we'd rely heavily on players like Jefferson, Lockett. I know he's gone now, but I thought we'd rely heavily on those players and probably Chig. And we've kind of done the opposite and just gone, right, let's see what these rookies have got. And they've done so well that Ayamana and DK are just uh, I mean, I think I was saying earlier in the chat is we got to start thinking about DK being pushing up that wide receiver order. Jury's a bit out on Iron Manor. There was one play in the game where I feel like he just gave up on the play, and if he just carried on his run, his route, he would have literally would have been straight in for the touchdown. The ball was placed right down onto the sideline for him to get, and he just kind of stopped, gave up. He slowed down a bit and then tried to catch up, but it was done. So there's things for them to work on, but they are looking good. Offensively, them four are looking quite good together, which
The
is a
thing is
plus.
now, because I think we can kind of say the season's over, they can take the reins off them a little bit and say, "Go on, guys, go out and do it," and it gives them a bit of freedom. Because if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I don't want to say it doesn't matter because it does, but that pressure's off them now. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe when Callahan was there, he wasn't letting them have that freedom to do it. Now McCoy's come in, as he kind of said to the guys, "Well, look, just go out and do it." Maybe that's why there's a bit more, the freedom of expression to do what they want and kind of attack more. Obviously, then at the same time, the defenses fall apart, so that's another problem, isn't it? But one player can't make a defense, which is the problem the Titans have got with Simmons, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, they've got no, at the moment, no other standouts in the team. I mean, Hooker, who would have possibly been the second, is playing pretty mediocre this season. He hasn't really done a lot um, to, to get anywhere, and they haven't got anybody who's much of a star. And the people they have that maybe might be are only on, generally, apart from Barton, are on a sort of 1 year contract, so they won't be here next year.
I think I expect a little bit more from Sweat. Um, I feel like I don't know, he's just not. He has good games, and then he has games where I just feel like he's just a bit of a piece, and he doesn't really do a lot. I was expecting him to be a lot more destructive in the on the defensive line, without like sitting there and evaluating every single one of his plays. I just feel like there's not. I just expected a little bit more. I just felt with Jeff and Sweat next to each other, it would be a two-man wrecking crew, and would have made up for the lack of edge threat that we had. But it's just not there. I know he's done quite well against the run, but it's that didn't work against the Colts really. But yeah, maybe the reins are off. Then maybe there's like, right, season's done, guys. Show you what you can do. I don't think any of them are going to be number one players. I still think we need a number one wide receiver. I still think we need a number one tight end. Maybe depends. I mean, we'll get onto the
We,
trades
we
later.
need we need a lot.
Yeah, offensively, I think we're all right, but I think the Iron Man and DK could be a good battle for wide receiver two. It'd be a good battle between two and three, really. Between them, you've got a speed player, a kind of a contested catch player, but we need that stud wide receiver that's gonna drive us forward. If you get three good wide receivers, you don't necessarily need to rely on a tight end as much, and you can have a more of a blocking tight end. But it's looking good for them so far, and I'm glad we get to see a bit more from them. It's normally with rookies, you don't really see much of them, whereas I feel this year we've kind of, like I say, the reins are off, and we've kind of let them see what they can do.
The only thing, I mean, don't really want to talk draft at the moment, but I don't think they will draft a number one receiver because they've got so many holes elsewhere. They've only got three big picks. I don't think they can go for unless there's a wide receiver who's just the outstanding player in in the draft or something that's available. Then yeah, maybe. But I think they'll be looking at some other positions, edge rusher, probably a DB as well in the first few picks.
Oh yeah, I think definitely. I think we need their other defense needs more work on it in the higher picks on that defense now, rather than wide receiver. But I just feel like we do need a good number one wide receiver. Ridley's not it. Um,
No,
he's a wide receiver two at best. I feel like to push forward, we just need that place. Maybe, obviously, probably not next year. We need to get that edge sorted. We need cornerbacks. But maybe the following draft. Depends what happens in the trade. I say if we start giving away some big pieces for first round picks, then you've got a lot of options in that first round that we can select from, and maybe a wide receiver. But what we've got currently at the moment, if we say we're not dealing any big pieces, i.e., Jeffrey Simmons, then it would probably be edge or cornerback. I think we need over
Just
wide
just
receiver.
just going back to the Colts game for a second before we are diving already into the trade. Are we quite happy that we've seen TJ Spears get a lot more game time now? He's back from injury. Because I'm not happy with the guy Pollard. When he first came in, I thought he was going to be quite good, and he's not getting me excited. Do we think Spears is going to be running back one next season or going forward, and we'll end up getting rid of Pollard?
well, it depends. It depends slightly on what Mullins does. If he gets back to, or he gets to actually play this season, whether or not he's going to give some sort of
Mm.
thought for that position. Because I mean, Spears isn't really a power back. You don't see him, taking the big for the big downs when they've got you know, second and one and third and one, fourth and one. He's more the sort of dance around a bit and especially if he's on the outside, get free and whatnot. Um, yeah. I mean, I don't think Pollard. I mean, he's not played as well, but I don't think the offensive line has blocked so well for him. He's had to fight it back. He's always struck me as being rather than a power back, as a sort of elusive back. He tends to get through and looks like he's only going to get 2 yards, and then he'll make a move and jink, and he'll turn that into a 10-yard run. But obviously, he's not had as much as he did last year.
Blocking's been pretty terrible on the run side. Spears is definitely a third down back. He's not going to take the workload. If if we go with Spears, you're then looking at we need, I say with Mullins, see what he's got, and then if he's still not fit, we're down to Chestnut, and well, he's been on the roster for a while and he's not really done much breakthrough wise into the team. So then you're expecting a lot from Cam Ward to be able to, we're then looking at a team that's just going to be passing, really, and looking at Cam to be able to use his feet and make plays on the rush that way. But yeah, if we dealt Pollard in a trade, I think we're pretty much given up a lot. I think that'd be another big piece that we've got to fill. We got so many pieces that I thought we were set with cornerbacks. I thought we were pretty solid at the beginning of the season, as in like we had pieces there that were average to above average, and now we don't have those pieces at all. And now it's like, okay, we've gone from having three cornerbacks to now looking into the dark depths of our of the practice squad really for cornerbacks. So I feel like it's a bit of we've taken another step backwards really.
Well, Baker played a lot last season, but he's got a concussion, I think, so he probably won't be available for this game. So I don't know if they're
Was
going to
he
be.
was he training? I'm sure he was training, but I think it was like light training. I think today I
Yeah,
saw.
well, I mean, he's got
But
concussion
yeah,
protocols to
I
get
don't think he's
through.
going to be,
So
is he? So
usually, quite often, they take more
missed at
than a
least a week,
week.
didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a shame. But right, so should we put the Colts game to one side now and move forward after? Well, we scored two touchdowns, so that was obviously positive.
I'm so glad we don't have to play the Colts again for the rest of the year. I am. Then I think they're now a joint record of the amount most times they've swept us in a season. I think it's like 14 seasons they've now swept us
Well,
in. I don't know if everyone's aware. I hate the Colts.
I think
I'm
you've
just
mentioned it a few
so
times.
glad that's done out the way. I can just not have to worry about looking at them anymore. The problem with Jonathan Taylor is I just can't stand him. I can't stand him, but he's so good. He's
Yeah,
just
but the
such a
annoying
good
thing
runner.
is as well, they brought in a quarterback that nobody really wanted, and he's on fire.
Danny
So they're
Dimes,
just,
isn't he? He is
you
just
know,
he had a good game. And do you know what I will say about the Colts game is the first half there were some moments in it where just they were just on the borderline of luck. I
Mm.
think the Pittman
Yeah, he had
touchdown.
one that went up in the air, didn't he?
Yeah, he
He came back down to him.
yeah, come literally teed up to himself. The touchdown, I know there was a flag on it, but it literally the ball just hit him in his bicep, and he caught it in his bent arm. There was a lot of plays that were just that could have been stopped, and like if it just went the other way slightly, it could have been different. I mean, I don't think it would have. They would have probably scored the next play or something along those lines, but there it was on that element of it could have been maybe been a little bit closer, but it was an element of luck, I feel, on a lot of their plays. There was a lot of missed tackles that if they made those tackles, it would have brought them back and they would have made the first downs or etc. etc. So, but that's football, isn't it? Really, it's
to be fair though, you
sometimes
do tend to find in all sport that the players and teams who just try that a little bit harder get the slice of luck sometimes. And I guess the Colts obviously got a very good mindset this year, and they're pushing hard and they're creating their own luck, which is kind of maybe that's what we're missing a little bit, that little bit of the mindset to kind of keep pushing and pushing and pushing. and then eventually the hard work pays off. But
I think it's a
Well,
bit
that's
of
true when you're
everything.
winning. When you're winning, you tend to the luck tends to go your way. When you're
mm,
losing, you know, everything goes the wrong way. You notice that in football as well. When you a deflection goes in the goal and you get a deflection goes the other way. It's the same with balls. I mean, you know, we Karen throws one that's slightly behind. The Black sticks his hand out, gets deflected to for an interception. Last week, I think May threw a ball behind. The bloke catches in one hand, and it's a
Yeah.
first down.
I'd say, I'm not going to say that the Colts are lucky. They're an annoyingly good team. And I feel I was kind of really looking forward to the Colts this year, run by Anthony Richardson. I was really looking forward to it, and it's just not gone that way. Because the Colts have always had, I think they've always had a solid team. They're not like an amazing team, but they've got a good team. They just needed that quarterback piece, and I think they sort of got it, annoyingly.
He's doing
And
very
if
well,
I
isn't
say injuries, it's Pittman's injury prone. Jonathan Taylor's been injured a few times, and if they can keep him fit, they'll be. I know. Why am I complimenting them?
he? I mean, sometimes though, when a team plays well, whether you like them or not, you've still got to admire them at the end of the day because when your team's out of contention, I guess it's a long season if you don't admire other teams, even the teams you don't like, because it's still a sport we enjoy watching, isn't it? So, but obviously, next time we see you, if you wear a Colts jersey, we'll understand why.
No, no chance. No chance.
Right. So let's put the Colts game to one side now, and we'll look at the trade. So far, we've only seen one trade, which is Roderick McCreary. We swapped him for a sixth-round pick, and we got a fifth-round pick. Allegedly, it's quite a high fifth-round pick. I've been told. I've been told. I saw online. Um, Obviously, it's always disappointing when we trade a player. He was out of contract at the end of the season. You have to assume there was obviously been discussions and he wasn't going to stay or be offered a new contract. So probably why they were quite happy to move him on. So he's the first. I'll be happy with that. Then also the trade deadline. Now in America, it's 4 p.m. in America on Thursday, the 4th of November. Is it the 4th of November on Thursday? It is, I think. On the 4th. Um, I think it's like 9 o'clock our time. Do we think there'll be more trades? I'm pretty sure there is going to be. And if you think there is going to be, who do you think is going to go? I think there might be a couple of big ones. I think Simmons could go, in all honesty, which I think fan base would go wild for. Whereas we'll probably swap him for two third-round picks. Although I think everyone wants a first-round pick for him. But what are your guys' thoughts on the upcoming trade deadline?
Well, if they get an offer for Cheek, then he will be departed because again, he's out of contract next year. Personally, I don't think he's going to be requiring too much money for them to give him an offer, so he won't be staying. Um, I have seen rumours that Zeitler might be a target and also Draymond Jones, but you think they'll probably only be six-round pick. They'll settle them for. So, but maybe they can change their fourth-round pick into a third-round pick and the third round into a second one, bundling a couple of those six-round picks with them.
Yeah, it's not. I think we've got our fifth round pick back from the Rams that we gave away last year, I think, for Ernest Jones. So we just got that pick back. I think that was our only. That's now our only pick in round five, wasn't it? So I think we didn't have one in round five, so we've kind of
Mm.
gained a pick. But I think I get I get it, and I do understand why. But the way I'm seeing it is we've now got rid of Brownlee, we've got rid of McCreary, and they're two starters for us, and we've gained a fifth and a sixth.
Hmm.
We aren't going to replace starters with fifths and sixth picks. I'm going to make a no. I'm not going to bother trying to say his name. Our GM has had a really good draft. It's one of the first drafts we've had for a while where we've actually can go down the list and go, oh, actually, we've done all right. We're going to see what Harris is like at cornerback, I guess, this week if Baker's out. We still need to see what the running back's like. And I think it was one of our guard. I think we've got a guard as well, which could go slot into offensive line, but all the other picks have done him quite well. So you think he'll know, and he did a good job at the Chiefs, like picking draft talent. So, but for me, I just can't see you replacing big players with fifths and sixth round picks. And then I know people talk about Simmons. I just think that would be so wrong. It'd be so wrong to get rid of probably like the key piece of your team, and then you've got to find that spot again. We're opening another hole that we've got to fill. And I feel like if we trade him out and we get two first round picks for him, like I don't see that happening. But if we get two firsts for him, for instance, I know Cowboys, they've got two firsts this year. You get rid of him then, and you could essentially pick a wide receiver, edge, and a cornerback in that first round. I don't know. Will I do it? Logically, yes, but I have Simmons' shirt, and he's the only active player that I still have.
Burn
And I,
it, burn it.
I don't want to have put it up in the loft with all the other with their Henry Bayard, AJ Brown shirts that I've got. To be fair, I've got a McNair shirt that comes out occasionally, but it's like not many players like have active players. So I'd like to be able to have a Titan shirt that has got an active player on the back of it. Um, but I just don't see it going. I don't see it going. I think it'd be uproar if he does go. But they have said that he's not. They're not going to deal Cam Ward or Simmons.
Yeah, but
They
what they
choose.
say and what they do is two different things. We know that in sport, don't we? Players are never for sale. No, never at any price. And 2 days later, they're gone, aren't they? So it's
Yeah.
never believe what you say because that could be the Titans saying it. He's not for sale at any point. So you're trying to up his value, possibly. Is that what they're trying to? Are they trying to up his value? I think Cam Ward's a different situation because he's a young rookie. You know, you wouldn't want to move him on unless you were dead set against him. But with Simmons, surely that whole comment is well, it's either because you mean it, he's not going anywhere, or you want to get his value up.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't think he will go. I mean, you won't replace him by getting two other players. He's much better than unless you strike gold with the two players you get. But he's probably out of that year's draft the number one player that's come out of that draft, 2019.
You got to look
Yes.
at play. You got to look at teams like Raiders. They're not draft. They're not trading Crosby. Browns have no interest in trading Garrett. You just don't trade.
Hmm.
I just feel like you don't trade your best player. Um, it just seems. I know the Giants traded a running back, but a running back's slightly different to these defensive players that are just freaks of nature. It's so hard to replace him. And even if we got three, if we end up this draft with three first round picks and picked three defensive tackles, I can guarantee you none of them will turn out to be Jeffrey Simmons. Like he's just one of
He's
those.
like a different breed, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like I say, he's like your Derrick Henry. He's just built differently,
those players only come around
mentally and
once.
physically.
They come around once, and if you've got him, I mean, you put him alongside players like Chris Jones, who've won what three Super Bowls now. So he's up there, I feel, with the best defensive tackles. And I'd just be mad to get rid of him. And I think players have got a loyalty to the team. This is what I find strange with players like McCreary, and maybe probably like Chig. Yeah, he's gonna want paying, but some of these NFL players do have a lot of loyalty. They show that a lot of massive loyalty to their college teams, and I think they seem very appreciative of where they come from and being having the honor of being picked in a draft. They want to give it back. So you can't like to think that maybe he would do a
See,
slightly. I mean, he's not going to
I
earn
like
like he's not going to be up there with Kelsey and Kittle money, is he? So you'd like to
no,
think that
but
he's
I
good
do like
team
the
friendly.
way you say these players. I mean, fair play. A lot of them, I think, do have a lot of commitment to the teams, which is good. But you do see a lot of players, and especially the start of every season, I'm not playing until I get paid. I want my contract, which we see that way too much in sport, and that absolutely drives me mad when you see players sitting out, not going to the training, not doing this, not doing that. That's just one. There's one of these things that really irks me for some reason. I mean, you do get a lot of players, and I do like American football where players will maybe not be happy where they are, but they got drafted, they're happy with it, they want to stay. But I think quite often their agents get in their ears, don't they, and tell them to sit it out, refuse to play, which just sorry,
A lot of those
you'd
are
rather
big
be there.
players, aren't they? They're the ones that go for like the record-breaking
Mm,
deals. Like, what was it? Aiden Hutchinson now's got the highest ever guaranteed money for a non-QB. They're the things. I mean, you've not actually heard anything about him not wanting to play. By the sounds of it, the Lions seem to get their deals done pretty sharpish and without any drama. But it's the players like Garrett who are like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to play for you anymore," and then they get like a record-breaking deal, and then the next one comes along, and it's like they get a record-breaking deal, and I think that's all they hold out for. But I mean, Chig's definitely not going to hold out for a
no,
record break.
definitely not. No,
Like, let's be honest. I like Chig. I really like him, and he's the last person left of that draft, of that draft class. So I'd like to keep him a little bit, but yeah, it's just he's not going to be earning big money. So you'd like to think he would rein it in a little
I
bit just for us.
I don't think it's so much. I mean, I don't particularly want to see him go. I didn't want to see McCreary go, and I think they could have offered him a reasonable amount. But you think next year they owe Snead a lot of money, they owe Ridley a lot of money. They're not going to be that flushed with money, spare money. So I think he's going to be a casualty of maybe them wanting to get a player and then save on, some other cheapy players rather than pay him as well.
I don't know if I read somewhere. I swear that we've got a really good salary cap. I think we're quite at the top with salary
mm,
cap for next year.
got a clue.
I mean, it'd be even better if we got rid of if we could get like if we're talking about trades, Ridley Sneed, I think we need to trade. I just don't. If we can work out some deal with the money situations and stuff, and a third, a fourth, two fourths, I'd be happy for them to go because Sneed's. Yeah, I'm done with Sneed. We don't need him. I'd rather see practice squad players and Harris, a rookie, take his position and actually see what they've got. Our defense is getting blown out anyway. We don't need a stud. A stud cornerback anymore. And Ridley, we're doing all right without him, really. And if he wants to go to another team, I've got no loyalty to him at all. He's just essentially just another journeyman trying to get his paycheck. And if he can find somewhere else that helps us out and it gives our rookies more reps, I'm happy for that. So those two I'd definitely like to see go in the
Well, I
trade
like
with.
how you said reps because it got me thinking of Restrepo then for a second because I'm still waiting for him to get called up from the practice squad and it's not happening. Free that man. Sorry, you said a word that
I
triggered
think,
me again.
well, to be honest, Snead will never play for the Titans again. I'm sure of that.
Mm,
I mean, unfortunately, he's on IR, so he won't get traded because they won't. Nobody's going to trade for him when he's on IR. But he'll just get cut in the new year. I think Ridley. Well, he's probably got hamstring, so he won't again get traded. But they just hope he might play a bit at the end of the season, and hopefully they can trade him next spring or something and eat some of the money.
Yeah, it's just annoying. I think that what grates me even more with the Snead issue is that we've come to the trade deadline and he just happens to get injured. It's just like, oh,
again.
just it's just beggars belief. You just go, mate. Just go, find somewhere else. You'll be happy. Just go back to the Chiefs, mate. It'll be fine. Like, just leave us alone. And this issue just. I've a lot more respect for Ridley. At the end of the day, I'd rather Ridley stay and Snead go if I had to pick between the two. Snead's dead to me, to be perfectly honest. But and as Dave said, if he doesn't play another rep for the Titans again, I'll be really happy. Ridley, on the other hand, if he wants to come out and play a few goes, I'm happy with that. But I'd rather see, I say, that Ironman and DK are playing well, Helm's doing well. So let's not upset the apple cart and just let him go off and find a competitive
Mass
team to go and end his career on. Basically, he's getting towards the end anyway. You'd want to have a chance, have a shot at winning the Super Bowl, don't you?
winning the game would be nice, I guess, for him. But so we're running out of time here. We've only got a couple minutes left. So this weekend we've got the Chargers in Nashville. 6 o'clock kickoff UK time for us. What's your predictions, guys? I'll let you go first before I embarrass myself again.
Well, I think defeat is on the agenda. I mean, the Chargers are one of the top offensive sides in the country, so I would have thought probably 30 something 14.
What to the Titans?
No, 30 to
Oh,
them,
sorry.
14 to us.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't surprised at that.
they're a good. And Herbert loves. I think he's off the top for passing yards. One of the top players passing yards. They're clicking. So with a really depleted, it's not the worst time to go into a team against a team that likes to throw. Why couldn't we go against a team that was rubbish at throwing and go against the Saints or someone that wasn't very good? But no, we'll go up against one of the top passing teams after getting rid of all our cornerbacks. But I'm probably going to say high 30, 35. I'm trying to think of multiples of 7 now. 42.
What to the Titans, yeah.
Yeah, I wish. Do you know what I reckon? It's going to be. We're going to lose. Chargers 40 something, 42, and I think the Titans are 21. I think we're clicking.
But see, I've been looking at it all week. Well, that's a terrible lie. I haven't really looked at all. I'm just going to go 31-27 to the Titans.
Oh, dude, why do you do this yourself every week?
Because you've got
It has to be
you know.
right sooner or later.
You two
It's
sit.
not-
You two sit there. You look at the Chargers how they play. I don't care how they play. I worry about how we play, and I'm thinking of what we're going to do. And I'm tunnel vision like this, just just not looking at the receivers we've got and half the squad we've got that's injured. I'm just yeah, we're going to win.
It's a good job we're not putting money on this and having like Christmas
Yeah.
drinks because you would be buying a lot of rounds for us.
I'd be in serious trouble, wouldn't I? Maybe next season we'll make a bit of a competition of it, and maybe when it becomes more of a competition, we'll see a few more realistic expectations. But you know what? I was quite happy we scored 14 points last week, so that's what I think we're going to build on. We're going to more than double it, and we're going to concede a few less. So that's my thought process with it, really.
And we had a chance for a third as well without the interception. So
yeah, see.
I'll say 20. I reckon 21. We're moving. We're moving those chains. It's just on the other side that's it might be a bit of a trouble. You never know. Harris might be the world's best cornerback. We might have actually picked a stud.
See, but before the end of the season, we'll probably have a game where we score 60 points, but we'll probably concede 90. So we'll get it going good one way, and we'll be just as bad going backwards again. So, but
what's the highest score in NFL game so far?
Oh, I've no idea. We'll have to look at that for next week. It probably isn't a
I think
Titans game anyway.
72-0 is the highest score.
72-0, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a record at some point. Right, so we're down to the last minute, guys. So once again, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me the weekend on Facebook with the Titans UK fans group, because without you two there and quite a few others, we wouldn't have a group to chat about. And as we all seem to start positive at 6 o'clock, and then normally by 6:10, it tends to be a bit more negative, doesn't it? But I'm sure this week we're going to be a bit more positive, aren't we, guys?
Hopefully.
Cool. Well, anybody who's watched the podcast, please come along, join us on the Facebook page, join us on X, Instagram, YouTube, I don't know what it is, TikTok. All three of us on TikTok, so try find us on TikTok and enjoy yourself. So we'll leave it there, and I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Cheerio.
See you later.